Hello, ladies and gents. Welcome back to a completely revamped Good or Bad series. Now, previously we had a look at a selection of different scenarios and how to handle them. But I was thinking, and perhaps it would be better to focus on a single topic and spend a little bit more time on each of them. Just to let you know as well, I also plan to start a new map guide series, though once again with a completely different setup than what I used to do for these before. Instead of an overwhelmingly large and complicated video, I would like to focus on a single vehicle type and one specific map at a time. Like for example, light tanks on Sand River, or tank destroyers on Malinovka. There are just so many variables that can affect the game, and hopefully this new setup will allow us to talk a little bit more about them in detail without having to make an overly long video. And this is exactly where you guys come in. Let me know what topics you would like from this new map guide series, either with situations where you have problems figuring out the right positioning, or with maps where you feel it would be important to talk about the current meta for a certain vehicle type. The same goes of course for the Good or Bad series as well. Suggestions for future topics are more than welcome. But that's probably enough of the time wasting. Let's get started with today's topic that will be all about brawling against non-turreted tank destroyers. Sounds like a simple enough equation? Well, it certainly is, and yet you still see it getting messed up so often that I thought it would be worth to take a quick look at it anyway. Now during the video we will have a look at both sides and how to exploit our positioning. Starting with the attacking side, you should have the upper hand in most situations, so here is what you have to do to not mess it up when you finally found yourself a big juicy target. So first of all, why brawl in the first place? Well, getting up close and personal this time is all about exploiting the lack of turret on your enemy, basically punishing them without putting yourself in the line of fire. Whenever you have the opportunity to jump on one of these steel behemoths, unless they have some backup, just go ahead and do it. Next up, we have to decide the angle of our approach. Your enemy's biggest weakness is their limited gun arc and lack of turret, so optimally you would approach them from any angle but head-on. Now of course there will be cases where going at them frontally is the only option, and taking out a priority target could still be worth taking a huge shot in the face. Well, if you can take it, that is. Be as it may, at least approach in a zigzag pattern to try and give yourself a chance, or just simply wait until the tank destroyer did fire at someone else. Next, it's the big question. Where do you actually stop? You don't want to fully circle it as, well, that would just bring you back in front of its gun, so you have basically two options: the sides or the rear. I personally would suggest the rear all day, every day. Tracking shots can sometimes fail due to RNG, and a decent tank destroyer driver will reverse into a solid object or wall to force you back in front of its gun. However, sticking yourself to its ass sideways on will prevent this from happening, and now you got yourself a nice XP and damage piñata. The only cases when taking the side is better in my opinion is if the rear is unavailable because, well, it's already too close to a wall or object, or when the tank destroyer has some mid-range backup and you just have to use its hull to shield yourself from the incoming fire. In these cases, do not shoot at the side of the superstructure, which is often well angled anyway. This can be often a costly mistake, as a good tank destroyer driver can get you off its side using any indestructible object, and then you are in a world of trouble. Go for the tracking shot instead, shooting the drive wheels over and over again, basically pinning him in place. Make sure you have a good enough rate of fire though, so you can also double track him even if they use their repair kit. Now if you are in a heavier tank, you can compensate your rate of fire by driving into their tracks over and over again between shots, effectively resetting the track repair timer. Now let's have a look at the same scenario from the tank destroyer's perspective. First as first, the best thing you can do is to avoid putting yourself in a position where it will be easy for the enemy to jump on you. A lot of the non-turreted tank destroyers will be heavily armored from the front, but generally slow vehicles with a baddish hull traverse, so driving out in the open is mostly a no-go. When setting up an ambush, make sure that there are some solid objects next to you, or even better, behind you. If you have your back up the wall, your chances of defending yourself did just significantly increase. You couldn't run away anyway. By the way, the border of the map, aka the famous red line, acts as a solid wall in this case, blocking enemies from getting behind you, so don't forget to use it to your advantage. When the shit hits the fan though, here is what you can do to save yourself. Step 1. If you were not backed into anything solid until now, do it as quickly as possible as your top priority. That's even more important than shooting the incoming enemy, unless you have a good chance of killing them in a single shot, of course. If you try to outturn your opponents turning in one spot, you will mostly just die looking stupid. Also, if they get to stick to your arse, you pretty much lost as well. Step 2. Assuming that you did make it, the enemy is probably now on your side blasting away at you. If the enemy is competent, they will most probably try to track you. If they succeed and you still have a repair kit, do not panic. Repair the tracks right after the enemy shoots you to give yourself the best chance of turning enough before they can shoot you again. If you don't have a repair kit and the enemy keeps tracking you without the desire of doing something stupid, well, you can only pray to RNG that somehow one of the shells misses or that your team is going to help you. Or, you know, go watch news on your phone, try to achieve inner peace or whatever, you are probably dead anyway. If, however, the enemy did not manage to track you, you still have a chance. Your job now is to turn into the enemy, trying to squish them against the solid cover next to you. If you manage to do this, slowly turning and reversing will force the enemy back right in front of your gun, hopefully allowing you to blast them in the side and with a bit of luck, killing them as well. Be prepared, however, that they mostly will try to switch to your other side now, so do not miss your shot. Another good strategy is to push into them when they are right in front of you sideways on, damaging their tracks and hopefully slowing down their momentum. This just might give you the time that you will need to take them out. As with everything, there are of course exceptions to this rule as well, for example with surprisingly quickly turning TDs like the E25 or the SU-122-44, which machines pretty much have to be tracked if you want to get behind them. In general though, these will be the likely scenarios that you have to watch out for. So, this was actually it for today's topic. I hope I could help some of you to take out these steel behemoths easily, or maybe to defend yourself better when you are driving one. If you did like the new style of the series, thanks a lot for considering giving this a like or sharing it. And of course, do let us know in the comments if you have maybe some additional strategies that you would like to share. Also, don't forget to make requests for the future topics, including the planned new map guide series. There is still more content coming your way tomorrow when we will have a closer look at the legendary FV304, aka Bertie Avenger. So hopefully, see you there. Thanks a lot for watching, and take care.